woke up to the grand announcement by Emmerson Mnangagwa that the government will soon introduce a new development model under which provincial authorities are allowed to draw up their own budgets and evaluate their economic output as part of a broader vision by government to accelerate national development. It really does not bother us that they are basically stealing from our manifesto, because it only confirms what we already know about them, that they will not hesitate to borrow without permission and therefore should not be trusted with the stewardship of our nation and economy. But it also gives us the opportunity to ask this question. If they are only discovering in the 38th year of our independence that you cannot accelerate development without knowing the numbers, how have they been running the country and the economy all this time? I have been clear from the beginning that we have a responsibility to make fact-based and data-driven leadership more appealing than demagoguery. Citizens must demand such leadership and make sure they elect nation builders who understand that the problems people face every day are not imaginary, but quantifiable and tangible. Nation builders understand that it's in the process of working out budgets that fact-based and data-driven leaders are able to properly diagnose problems so they can provide the right prescriptions. Emmerson Mnangagwa and Zanu-PF are the proverbial gift that keeps on giving, making the case not to elect them far much better than any one of us can. He is essentially admitting that for almost 4 decades, none of the provincial executives, variously called governors or provincial affairs ministers, were appointed to solve any of the economic problems in their provinces, but instead to protect the political interests of the appointing authority. These executives couldn't do something as elementary as quantifying the size of the economies of the provinces they presided over. If they were providing any prescriptions, they were doing so without knowing the state of the economies of their provinces, which could only be revealed by the numbers, the facts, the data only a budget process can provide. None of them had vested interests in the real and quantifiable development of their province, since their salaries and well-being were not impacted by the economic performance of the provinces they led. With a vague mandate to coordinate development projects, they could not measure if these projects added anything to the provincial fiscus. They were more likely to be fired for failing to organize a good political rally for their principles than for not meeting provincial economic development goals. So they have enjoyed long tenures, lived in mansions, and are driven in expensive vehicles in spite of the economies of their provinces being dead. Lest we forget, let me remind you of point number 6 in our manifesto's 10-point plan, which Mnangagwa is desperately trying to own. We will create provincial business engagement teams to implement radical business recovery and development plans for each of Zimbabwe's provinces. Then there's point number 3 in our plan, which spells out the commitment of a Build Zimbabwe Alliance government to implementing this. We will devolve the presidency by implementing a presidential calendar to obligate the president to a week's working residency per month in each of the country's provinces to make sure that our fact-based and data-driven model of solving problems is implemented. They can try to make the same promises. But what we need going forward are leaders who have the integrity and political courage, not just to make promises, but to keep them. Zimbabwe, ilizwe letu, ilifa letu. Zimbabwe, our country, our heritage. Zimbabwe, nyika yedu, naka yedu.
pizza, pizza today, oh, manyane pizza.